Okay, Deputy Donnelly.
Thanks, Cian Corla. Tánaiste, the amendments that Deputy Chambers and I are putting down are amendments 5, 9 and 20. And they refer specifically to the need for the Minister for Health to seek the consent of the Minister for Finance and the Minister for Public Expenditure and Reform should the Minister for Health wish to make any order or regulation. So subsection 75A is to do with the sitting Minister for Health being able to make arrangements. So it says the Minister may, with the consent of the Minister for Finance and Public Expenditure and Reform, make such order as they consider necessary to continue in being any reciprocal arrangement or other arrangements in relation to health services which were in operation between the State and the United Kingdom immediately before the withdrawal of the United Kingdom. Paragraph 75B essentially says the same thing in terms of regulation. So obviously there is a relatively complex and important set of relationships between Ireland and the United Kingdom when it comes to healthcare, be it using Galvin Hospital or ambulance services north and south of the border, the vast majority actually of which are ambulances from Northern Ireland making emergency response calls in the south and bringing citizens of the Republic to hospital. There's the cross-border directive, there's the travel abroad scheme. It's a very complex relationship, very, very important stuff, and a lot of people all over Ireland waiting on a daily basis or a weekly basis for surgery, maybe in a large UK hospital, or for UK doctors to come over here and operate, for example, in some very specialised paediatric services. We rely on highly specialised surgeons and their teams coming in from UK hospitals and maybe spending a day or 2 or 3 in an Irish hospital and operating. Now, here's my concern. My concern is that the sitting Minister for Health may need to be able to make quick decisions. It may be the case that something arrives, and I'm making up the example, obviously, this may not be exactly the one, but let's say there's a surgeon and their team coming over to Crumlin for 2 days of operations, and something pops up, because we're going to be living in the world of unintended consequences and complexities that no one's going to be able to foresee all of. And some order is required from the sitting Minister for Health to make sure that the team can come in, to make sure that the insurance policies are covered, to make sure that the drugs they're using are sanctioned, whatever it is. It's a complex legal field. The way 75A and B are written is that any order or arrangement or regulation from the Minister for Health, all of them require the consent of the Minister for Finance and the Minister for Public Expenditure and Reform, currently held by one post, but they could quite easily, after a reshuffle or a general election, be back to 2 different posts. So I have 2 concerns. One is it slows things down. It doesn't allow the Minister for Health of the day make the decisions that he or she is entrusted by the Taoiseach to make. And secondly, Tánaiste, on a democratic point, I don't believe that it is appropriate that a Cabinet Minister should seek consent of the Minister for Finance. So what I've done is I have 3 amendments. And what they very specifically do is they say consent is required from the Minister for Finance when there is an issue relating to taxation. And consent is required from the Minister for Public Expenditure and Reform where there is an expenditure implication of the order. So we said for both taxation and expenditure, yes. But for everything else, no. I don't believe it would be appropriate for a Minister for Finance to have that authority. It's not what they're doing day to day. They're not immersed in the world of healthcare day to day. So I am hoping that you will accept the amendments. They're modest, but I think important in making sure that whoever is the Minister for Health of the day can move with the necessary speed, and sometimes these things move very, very fast. It can be a surgeon and their team sitting in an airport ready to come to Ireland, or arrived in Crumlin Children's Hospital waiting to operate, and they may need some support from the sitting Minister. there's no reason why any Minister for Finance or Public Expenditure Reform should be involved, unless, obviously, if there is a taxation or expenditure issue, in which case the amendments cover both of those. So that's it. I'm hoping you'll support them. Thank you.